Welcome back to Kimchirednecks. I've decided that I wanted to do a little thing on air quality because back in the States it never really bothered me much. I mean, I've lived in DC, I've been through New York before, and yeah, you get a little bit of air quality issues, but not much that really bothers you that much unless you live somewhere like LA is supposed to have a bad one. But moving here, you do get air quality issues. Mainly we get something called yellow dust, which depending on who you ask, is either industrial pollution coming from the harbor, because we're not far from Pyeongtaek Port. The most common thing that most people blame though is dust from China. It comes from the Mongolian or the Gobi Desert or whatever it's called. I'm not really up on the geography on that one. So I'm standing here because I wanted to point out that from this distance I can read the numbers on that building, and if you see the church over there, I can see the numbers on the church, and in the distance there in the skyline I can see the line of the mountains in the distance, and I can see those fairly well today because according to my the app on my phone that I use to monitor the air quality, it's about 38 right now, which is actually really good for here. Where I'm from in South Carolina, it generally averages below 20. Today is a good day, so like I said, you can see the numbers on the buildings, the words on the church over there. I can see the ridge line in the mountains, and if I wanted to go in a slightly different one, if you can see it down there, there is a GS25. You probably can't see it for that tree. And that's about the distance at which, when the air does get bad, when the air quality gets up like over 140, 150, you can actually literally see the haze in the air. And when it gets that thick, it's bad. That's when you see people wearing the masks and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple clips on different days in various ranges of air quality, so you can see what this view behind me here looks like when the air is actually bad versus when it's good. So you can see why people wear those little surgical mask looking things. But so this is going to be the good day. Like I said, it's 38 right now according to my app, and I will hit you next time when I have another number. So what I'm going to do here is look a little bit at what the air quality index looks like across the world. So before I get into all these little numbers, we're going to take a quick look at a chart that I pulled up on Ye Olde Google, which I believe is from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. But this is a quick breakdown of the air quality index. It's pretty easy to figure out. There are two main particulates that they monitor for this, the PM10 and the PM2.5. Basically, they take the parts per million number of those two and add them together and apply that number to this chart. So 50 and below is good. 51 to 100 is acceptable, but could cause problems for sensitive people. 100 to 151 is unhealthy for sensitive groups. This is the point at which you kind of need to start wearing masks. I generally have to start wearing one around the 120 to 140 range. Otherwise, doing things outside without one can cause me to get what people lovingly refer to around here as the crud. Anyway, above that, you've got red, where it's unhealthy, 151 to 200. This will start causing problems for everybody. Purple, very unhealthy, 200 to 300 basically. And this is health warnings of emergency conditions. Entire populations are likely to be affected. And above that is just you're going to die. So you got burgundy or whatever that is. Hazardous, 300 to 500. And that's everyone may have serious health effects. So back over to our little chart here. If you look in the North American region where I'm from, we're going to start with the East Coast because that's what I'm more familiar with. If you look down here in Savannah and Charleston today, they're 17, 25. If you get up around Fayetteville or Raleigh, you're in the
30s to 40s. Even in DC here, you only get into the 60s. There's a 115 here somewhere. That's Chester, Pennsylvania. But, you know, you get up here, you're New York, 72. You know, so on that scale, not too terribly bad. If you get over on the West Coast, you do see a couple reds pop up here. There's a 152 and a 154. There's some 150s up here in the Northwest. But by and large, the vast majority in North America never really gets above yellow. And like I said, I grew up in the southern East Coast here, so I'm used to it being green. So if we swing on over to the area where I'm at, yes, there's some other colors in there. I will get to them shortly. We zoom in a little bit here. All right, so there's our border. So this should be Seoul up in here. So yeah, Yongsan-gu, Seoul. So we've got 40s, 50s. It's not all that bad today. There's some 70s and 90s. If we scroll down here, Osanshi, that's the closest one to me here. So that's a 38 today. I think I mentioned that earlier. So we're looking pretty fair. And Korea as a whole, like I said, if I pull out a little bit here, weather's good today. Now, what a lot of people blame most of the pollution on, I mean, yes, you do have the harbors at Incheon and Pyeongtaek over here that, you know, put a little bit in the air. But if you look right across this little gap here, there's some 160s, there's a 216, there's a 819. Holy crap. I wonder if people are dying there. But you get the fine yellow sand that comes from the North China Desert, Gobi Desert, I believe. I could look it up if I really cared. But the wind picks up the fine sand from that desert and then blows it through, you know, this nice red region here, where it picks up contaminants, is what they say. That's what I've heard on the internet. And you know, everything on the internet is true. But it picks it up, and in the jet stream or the air currents blow it right across the water here, and it comes in right through here on the south end of Seoul up to about a little north of Daejeon. Why will that one not go away? I don't know. But so there's an airstream that blows in right through here, and you can see where the yellow concentration is here, and then everything below it is mostly green. But if you want to see, although that 819 is real impressive there, if you want to see what's probably the worst air quality in the world, if we pop over here to India and zoom in just a touch. So we got a 540, we got them 370s, some 200 somethings. There's a 400 something. That's not too terribly bad considering all the red and stuff we saw in China. Here's some more burgundy. Some more 300s, 600s, 700s. So the 819 may actually be the winner that I've seen for today. But this area around Delhi, I've heard, is consistently the worst air quality in the world. So hopefully I'm going to get some other videos of days where we have a little bit worse air quality. Ooh, there's an 8 something in Japan today. That's weird considering it's surrounded by green. But I'm going to see if I can get some more videos from days where we have different bits of air quality so you can see how it affects the visibility in the distance. Other than that, I'm going to cut this little bit short. So we're out here again today. We've got a mixed reading between our two closest weather stations. One is reporting about an air quality of 100 and the other is reporting an air quality of about 70. We're about halfway in between, so we'll call it 85. So if you notice from last time, as we'll zoom in a little bit,
there is, oops, sorry. There is our bridge, about 3 blocks away. Today you can actually see the ridge line, and if we can see it back there, there is a secondary ridge line further away, which is a little hard to see at this air quality, but it's easier than it was.
Hey, but at least I don't have to have a mask on.
There is that. So over here is the industrial park. That's that 10-minute drive, and way in the distance back there are the apartment buildings near Jinwi Station. I think I got that wrong before. So there we are at 85. All right, today we're out here with a frog in my throat and a AQI reading of about 120. So here's our normal bridge that's a few blocks away. And there's the ridge line back there. Let's see if you look at this one over here. You should be able to see the secondary ridge line barely behind it. And if we look over in this direction, there's our buildings over near, actually there's the industrial park, and then there's the apartments over near Jinwi. So that is what it looks like at 120. Alright, depending on how well you can see it, because the air quality is rather bad today, it's about 160. This bridge right over here is about maybe a quarter to a third of a mile away from where I am. That's how thick the air quality is. Behind it, which I'm pretty sure you can't even see at this point, you may be able to see some slight discolorations in the horizon line. Is, well, the horizon line is where the mountains are in the background. The buildings over here, ooh, it's a 180. Ah, 180. Yeah, that's a good one. So these buildings over here near the industrial, the little industrial corner as I call it, are about a 5-minute drive from here, and they're about halfway to Jinwi Station. So you're within probably half a mile of visibility from the 5th floor. It's a little thick.
This is why we wear the masks. They're not attractive.
This is what the face masks are for.
But this is what they're for. They're not pretty on anybody, but we're not like sick or anything. We just don't want to die from the crud.
Got to keep the gunk out your lungs.
Yep.
All right, everybody, we're here for another update. I've got my mask on because it's thick out here. So we're reading about 200 today. So as soon as I can actually see it, there it is. There's the bridge. That is about, actually I've been wrong. That is closer to 5 blocks away from here, not 3. So that was the bridge over here. There's the industrial complex. That's the 5-minute drive from here. And I don't even know if you can see the apartments over by Jinwi now. So if we look at the ridge line in the back, I don't know if you can make it out, but I can barely make out the close ridge line. I can't see the secondary ridge line at all. So that's what the air looks like around here at 200. So just as a quick note, I wanted to let everybody know that the footage for these air quality shots was taken on several different cameras on several different days. So the mic quality and or the video quality might differ slightly. I did want to point out a few things that I originally got wrong in the descriptions. From where I was standing on the rooftops, the bridge that I point out first is just about a half mile from that building as the road goes. So it's closer to 5 blocks away, but it's only about a 2-minute drive to get to it from that building. The next thing I generally point out, the industrial park is about a 5-minute drive from that building. It's not that far as the crow flies, but as we all know, roads don't follow crows. So it is about a 5-minute drive from there to the industrial complex, and it is about a 10-minute drive from there to the Genui Station, which is the general area where the big white buildings I like to show in the background are. Those are the actual distances I'm telling you, although I get it wrong at some points and say it's like 3 blocks to the bridge or 5 minutes to Genui Station. Checked it out. It is about 5 blocks to the bridge. It is about 5 minutes to the industrial park. It is about 10 minutes to Genui Station, just to straighten that out. So I hope you guys have an idea of how the air quality actually affects the visibility and how thick it is, because the crud is a real thing. It feels like having the flu and coughing your lungs up without the body aches and fever that come along with it, that at least get you to stay home from work. You're just coughing your lungs up and that's it. So you have to go to work too, so fun. You may notice that strangely enough, it looks like the clip with the 180 air quality has worse visibility than the one with the 200 air quality. The reason for that is the day that the 180 air quality was shot, we shot it later in the afternoon, and it was a little more, the weather was a little more overcast because it rained the next day. So there was not as much ambient light. The one for 200, we shot it at like noon, and it was as bright as it was going to get for the day. So that's why you may see a little more definition or a little more distance in the one for the 200. It's literally just because there was more light. If anybody likes this kind of informational stuff about living in different countries and how some very basic things are very different sometimes, follow along, like and subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know. Y'all have fun.